Oh crap!
What?
There's a lag, right? so the intro, the 1 minute intro is not long enough for me. The things that I need to do to be here.
Yeah, and
Am I
also
laggy
you're
again?
blurred again, Dan.
Oh, God.
I know. I mean, it's not, like I said last week, it's not impossible to see you, but you're just definitely blurred. You're not 100% clear.
Okay.
And actually, you know what? The closer you come to the screen, the clearer you are.
All right. In your face. Well, welcome everyone to another workshop Wednesday, the blurry of workshop Wednesday, brought to you by schoolofbookkeeping.com. We're bringing QuickBooks your way. And today is our third of the Intuit Accountant, and we're going to be focusing on the books close portion. This is one of those things that they talked about at Intuit Connect that will have a fee associated with it, and right on cue, Intuit has stated, or as actually announced, what those fees actually are. Thing that we want to do is talk about those fees, because a line of kind of catching you up to today, right?
Yeah, did they release that today?
They did Monday or Friday.
Okay.
I think Friday. Friday, as far as the pricing is concerned, right? So announced that QBOA, QuickBooks Online Accountants, being transitioned to Intuit Suite, and as of the Intuit Connect, you were able to opt in. You were, click happy and opted in early, but as of Intuit Connect, you could opt in to the Intuit Accountant Suite, and there were two flavors. Talked about those on a prior workshop. So you've got Core and and for the undisclosed future at the time, back in October of 2025, they were in beta for free. Right, they were free to use, and you could use and set up books close, and you could use and set up clients insights, which I'm going to talk about client insights next week. But for they were during this period of October 2025 until May 1st, 2026, they are evaluating the gathering feedback, input from people that use it, and trying to find the right price point for these paid for features, right?
Yeah, so I have to tell you though, Dan, I don't like that they're going to be charging anything extra for books closed, because, and maybe some of the other things that'll be in Core and Accelerate, because on the one hand, I do appreciate the fact that there will be a paid part of it, really to sort of weed out the people that aren't serious about using it for clients, if they were kind of hacking away to get a free instance of QuickBooks Online. But the fact that they're thinking about, I don't know, we already pay a lot, or not we, but clients. Actually, never mind. We wouldn't be paying for IAS, so really we would just be paying for the books close. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I'm very brain dead today.
Well, you bring up a good point, because during at this year, right, the the cost, right? It's like from, well, let's see, in QBOA started in 2013,
Mhm.
right? At that genesis of QBOA, it was a client dashboard, right? And a client dashboard was just a way to that are using QBO, right?
Yeah.
At that point, from those humble beginnings of of, of that, it has changed a lot, right? And there's been a lot of new things that have been added, and it's not just the accountant features that you have inside of your clients when you are listed as the accountant. Now they are transitioning some of the based activities that accounting is Intuit Accountant Suite, and coming from history, right? Like everything that you initially, 2013, a thing, right? They didn't even
Right.
have books
Yeah.
being part of that, right? So they have given, to Intuit's credit, they have given to accountants a lot of free stuff, right? And
Yeah, they
you
have.
get,
And I was just going to say, I mean, sometimes
go ahead.
us accountants aren't always the best at doing our own books, although
The
I always
cobbler's
keep up.
shoes.
Yeah, I mean, I always keep up with the bank feeds, but I'm not the best at keeping up with reconciliations. But I will say a lot of these were up to this point really found in external apps. And that was really a big part of ever since I joined the Intuit world. External apps were always such a big part of using QuickBooks Online. And so it feels like they kind of want to back away from that a little bit. And they basically what they're saying is, hey, we understand that what I was going to say is it's almost like a feature of or a byproduct of competition, right? Because as all of these apps get better and better and better, we see them get better and better very rapidly. It's like, and then you can do this, and then you can do this, and then, oh, by the way, firm, you can use this for your firm. And it's like over the past several years, that's what I've been doing. And so I've kind of gotten accustomed to using this app, but then I can use it for my firm. So it seems like Intuit has really jumped onto that. And it's always when you're working on a lot of different clients' books and your own, for me, it's easy to get a little confused on, wait, from what perspective am I thinking of? And that's why I got confused about client paying for their thing. We don't pay for it. But I do, I am very, and I know we can talk about this a little bit later, but I am very conscious about what I'm paying for as a firm. And like I told you before, I don't mind paying for the exclusive part of, okay, I'm a serious pro advisor, so I'm willing to pay that nominal fee. Right. So I have a legit or verified, I guess for lack of a better term, QuickBooks account. But I don't want you to start nickel and diming me for these things that I can kind of get from somewhere else.
Yeah. And that's the period of time that we're in today, right? As new features, like, and we'll talk about the books close, what you can do in Enterprise Suite, and how that stacks up against something that maybe you as a firm, your own practice as a tool to use, and now you're comparing, okay, well, is this worth switching and changing my workflows that I've already established somewhere else into QuickBooks Online?
Yeah, and that's really big.
Yeah, and this is the pendulum that is going to swing as Intuit either develops its own solutions or acquires and incorporates those solutions into QuickBooks Online natively. And then
because don't forget, a lot of
going to be stacking that up against something else that you've already had to incorporate, and maybe you're paying for something else on top. Right?
Yeah, because a lot of this is sort of stemmed from, okay, did I have, well, I guess, like, let's rewind. Like, was this available in QuickBooks Online to do? No. Okay, well, I'm sort of forced to go get it from somewhere else if I want something that's going to maybe do it faster and more effectively. And so then you incorporate it into your workflow, and then you have a team, and the team is doing that, right? So it's not always easy to bring it back to something else. It really boils, for me, it's going to boil down to what the cost is, because if it does it more effectively and the cost is reasonable, then that, I would think, would be something that would move the needle. Because remember, a lot of these other apps, I mean, as an integration gal, these things integrate. I know you hate this word, seamlessly, but it really does. It depends on which one we're talking about. Say. Yeah, but for example, we can get into the example of Double, formerly Keeper, when we talk about books close. It's like you're in QBO. They've developed that so fantastically, that instant update, that if it doesn't work better than that, why would I switch if I'm going to have to pay?
Yeah, and I think that will make for an additional workshop where we actually, kind of side by side compare Double and
I would love to do that
and see.
Yeah, because we're a firm.
Is it worth it?
Yeah, we're a firm at Net Deposited. We typically, and this is actually a really interesting topic, because when I first started out, I know that there were a lot of people that really were rah-rah Intuit, and they really wanted to only use Intuit products. And as a matter of fact, when I went to Scaling New Heights for my first couple of years, there were even a few different classes that you could take on how to run your firm only using Intuit products, and using T-sheets and using this and using that, and basically not ever branching out and using anything externally. Well, then I met a whole bunch of other people that were like, oh, no, you want to use all of these other external tools because it does everything so much better. And so I really settled on kind of somewhere right in the middle, but probably more leaning towards external apps and not as many QuickBooks apps, but relying on like the core functionality of QBO big time, and the fact that that it's got a strong integration ability, which I appreciate. So for me, the question boils down to, will they kick other apps out? That's what I want to know. It's never going to be, okay, we're going to voluntarily start using all of these QB built-in apps. People like me aren't going to do that and say that, even if it boils down to money. Right. It's going to be, have they disallowed this, and am I forced to?
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever come to that, because they have built their entire QuickBooks ecosystem on their API. And that was always the case. Is that we'll do what we'll do inside of or QBOA or whatever the product happens to be, and then for some otherwise workflows that we don't do well, or we do kind of the shallow end of the pool. There's other apps for that, right?
Yeah.
And the bill pay solution is a prime example of that. So we'll just kind of divert for a little bit to, bring this back to Intuit Enterprise or Intuit Accountant Suite, right? First began, there was no way payments to your suppliers or vendors from QuickBooks Online, right? So there lies the example. It doesn't do the function, right?
Right.
So there's, QuickBooks is either faced with a choice of partner with someone else, or, allow other people to be able to do the things that they do, or create their own solution to do that, right?
Yeah.
So it takes time to, to set, to create your own. So, and this is pretty standard operation for Intuit, is that, hey, there's already an ecosystem available, and there's these solutions that already do that. So now let's look at all of those solutions that are out and maybe approach one to import, to basically
Right.
integrate that solution into the system, so it appears as if you're never online, right? And
Right.
that first iteration was with Bill,
Yep.
right? So they worked with Bill, did a scaled down version of Bill.com just for QuickBooks Online bill payment, and then incorporated that into QuickBooks. Had a varying level of success, right? So it's, some people accounted it because there was some use for accountant users and those types of things. So, but it worked. It allowed people to pay bills online without going to some other app to be able to do that, right? And then
Yep.
comes Melio, right? So then they kicked Bill.com out of the picture, said, get out of my QuickBooks, and then replace that with Melio, which, if you didn't know you were using Melio, you didn't know you were using. So the whole bill payment process of Melio actually had and a Melio green is what they called it,
that was a little
right?
confusing, though.
Exactly. So you could go outside of QuickBooks into Melio to do your things outside of there if you wanted to,
Yeah.
a little bit more than what Melio green would allow you to do from QuickBooks. But if you didn't know you were using Melio to pay your bills with the QuickBooks Bill Pay, then no, right? I mean, it was that deeply integrated that you never left.
Yeah.
You didn't. If you didn't have to, you use QuickBooks in order to schedule and pay your bills through the what was powered by Melio. So then, finally, QuickBooks Bill Pay service comes into play, and so they're like, all right, appreciate your integration, but we got from here. Right? And so bill pay solution is the only one that you can deeply inside of your QuickBooks Online without going anywhere outside of QuickBooks, right? So that
I mean, and there's I was just going to say, there's positives and negatives to that. I like the idea of like, if you've got a team and then maybe they're assigned to bill pay, then they don't have to go outside of QuickBooks, and the payment gets recorded in the way that you want, and you're not necessarily having to search elsewhere for payments to match up to bills. And so there's a lot of good things about it. Anyway, go ahead.
So here we are. So let's draw that timeline, or that evolution of an in here in Intuit Enterprise Accountant Suite. See, I can't keep the name straight sometimes.
Well, you know what? Like, I have to say is the way that I see it is that Intuit can the opportunities are endless. There's a million zillion different things that Intuit can say. Oh, accountants are using this. Let's put this in here. Oh, that would be neat. Let's add this. And so it really, the possibilities are endless. The fact that they're focusing on this is great, because it can get pricey. And that's really my only drawback about using an external tool such as the Close, which I'm sure you'll show. But for me, it boils down to that. I would love to be able to use something internally if it weren't a pain to switch my team to. So for me, price and team switching are the biggest issues.
Right. And you might not be their candidate, right? For this point in time, because
it might be for solopreneurs. Yeah.
Well, not necessarily the solopreneurs, but people who aren't going to know any different, right? So unless
true, yeah.
As if you are starting your virtual bookkeeping, if you are starting today and going into Intuit Accountant Suite, you don't know anything prior to that, right? So you don't have that baggage that, okay, well, I've already got another app that does this sort of thing.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
You are not alone.
And I would, if I were new to it, I would opt to use all the bells and whistles. Right. I'd be like, oh, this is great. And then I wouldn't even look elsewhere for it.
So all of these features, like, and not new to the franchise, new to QuickBooks, people who are like, okay, well, I need to pay bills, so I'm going to use the QuickBooks Bill Pay service, right? Because they don't, that there's not, that there's other options out there, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point, because there's so many things that I thought when I first started that I thought I had to do because I just had to. And it takes a while to kind of figure out that you don't have to, but I get that initial thinking. Yeah.
Right. So on one side of the picture, there's new accountants, new virtual bookkeepers, new practitioners who are going into QuickBooks Online Accountant for the first time, and now it's Enterprise Suite, and they're given this choice of which flavor. Is it Core or is it Accelerate? Okay, well, here's what I get for Core or Accelerate. Well, I need to do some books close stuff. Oh, the books close option. I'll see what that's on, right? And they don't know anything about Double or Keeper or Financial Sense or any of the other, practice management that are out there that, have been doing these things, for quite some time. So let's first talk about this. So let me.
Yeah, I was just going to ask. Tell me the pricing.
Show me the money, right? Here is my option. Okay, this studio sometimes works. All right, so let's make this a little bigger so we can see. Move this over here. Okay, so we talked about that there are two options, Core and Accelerate, right? And one says free, the other says $0 a month, which is free to me, but there's an asterisk there. It's free right now for Intuit Accountant Suite Accelerate until May 1st of 2026, which then it's going to be starting at $140. So new QBOA, existing quick users who ultimately at some point before December need to opt in and choose one of these choices. If you are coming from QuickBooks Accountant and all of the things that you are currently doing that are free, your books, the online payroll elite, the QuickBooks Time elite, and elite bill pay service, they are still free. Accountant Suite, regardless, right? So you're not going to be paying for your firm books. You're not going to be paying for any of those and they have not made any statements to say that those fees or those services have a cost to them.
Yeah, but for now,
to your point, they could change that position at any time, right? And back to the genesis of advisor program, there always was a fee associated with the Pro Advisor program until QBOA came into the picture, and then there's this whole idea. There's all the stuff that you get for free. So now we're coming, they're kind of needing to backpedal some of that, and they are introducing fees on the things, the new things that they're adding, the existing things that people are already enjoying, right? So we may find years from now that they're charging for the yearbooks or whatever, but that is not today, and that's not in the near future. So everything of core is free, right? You get as we mentioned, navigation workshop last week. You've got the customizable home widgets, this Intuit intelligence chat, which one of those ask anything chat GPT types of search boxes inside of your books, the Intuit AI, the chart of accounts templates, role-based access and controls, which if you ever see Reebok or Arbok, that's what they're talking about. I've seen like the acronym, like what is RBAC? It's role-based controls. You've got the My Menu, the Customer Hub, which is, incorporations and integrations with MailChimp, a CRM, and those types of things to the platform. Did I lose? Am I lost?
No, you're still there, but you're cutting out a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I just said, oops, you're reconnected. And then that training manager dashboard we talked about last time. So all of those features, including the yearbooks, the payroll, the QB time, and service, are still free, right? So there's no charge for doing that. The only potential fee that is going to be within core is books close, because you can add or opt into books close. You have the Intuit Accountants platform, which, as we can now see, is at $149 for the platform fee.
Yeah, that's a lot. I was going to say, I like the fact that you can a la carte books close if you need. Yeah. What about books review? Is that still a thing?
Yes. And we'll talk about the difference between what the heck is the difference between books close and books review. Get into the books close. But then, so with Accelerate, then you have your core features plus client insights, which we'll talk about next week. Team groups, being able to group your team, and then this AI-powered anomaly detection, and some of the things that they kind of teased up the following week is things for like, capacity planning, right? So here we are in the throes, 3 days away from the end of tax 9 season, right? Where things need to be out of sent for filing, right? And maybe you need some extra help in order to do that for your clients, right? So this will, or somebody takes in the middle of a busy season or a spike to plan accordingly for that. That's some of the features that are going to be in the Accelerate side of things. Either leverage, maybe an Intuit, be able to bring on some temporary staff, let them go, after that is over, or at least to plan for those types of things, because you have those other things, the elite time and those types of things that are already baked in to your platform, right? So
yeah, it's neat. It's like they're going from just providing accounting software to accounting firm software.
Exactly. Right. And so to your point, right, you were using QBOA up until this point for several years, and these features like books close would have been, a twinkle in Sasan's eye at that point, right?
Well,
So
Books Close has been there. No, Books Close wasn't there. Books Review had been there for quite some time, and I did use it when I was still by myself.
Right.
But, it's hard because, like, out there in the app landscape, there's some stuff that works a lot better, when you're dealing with a team. And so I think it's great that Intuit is adding all of these features, and they're essentially competing. And I'm excited to see like where it eventually ends up going. It kind of seems like they're adding on this cost to be able to use it, so that's going to be for me a hard sell.
Yeah, and right, and just keep in mind that there are two demographics. There are new users to QBOA. Intuit Accountant Suite, people like you who are existing users that are coming from Intuit.
Yeah, they understand that me. Yeah, they understand that me and my ilk are a hard nut to crack.
Right.
We're not going to get those ones.
So Books Close, which is as they speak to it, like on the In the Know webinars that they do or monthly, when they talk about Books Close, they referenced Books Review, right? So it's got some features, and then we'll some similarities with Books Review, which is accountant feature inside of a client. But Books Close is an accountant the firm, right? So again, it's one of those things that we were talking about, which if you don't know that you're using Books Close, you wouldn't know that you're using books, right? Because you're inside of you're not needing to go into your client in order to see that utility, right? And this Books Review tool is kind of cool, but I got to go into each client, and I don't have any visibility into how that Books Close or Books Review process is going, unless I go. If you're a firm owner, which you are, and you have delegated Books Close tasks, then you can't tell who's working on what unless you go into each client and check up on it yourself, right? So that is what they're driving for here, to be able to have a more of a bird's eye view of the Books Close books, but also do a lot of the tasks within Intuit Accountant Suite with each individual.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, that's what you want.
Right.
So they're doing what is appropriate, I feel like. If I could put a list together of things I would need to have, that's the way I would want it.
All right. So the Book Close is the only thing that can be in Core or into Accelerate, right? So that's one of the features that could be in either one. It's get a little complicated when you see this Accountant Suite Core free, and then you end up having a cost associated with that because you are opting into the Books Close fee. Now, what's that fee? Books Close is available at no additional cost through the beta program, so up until May 1st, 2026. You will be billed $8 client per month up to 50 clients, or $6 for over 50 clients. Now,
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
That it's not all that different than what some of the apps are charging. It seems, around that.
Yeah. So you coming from the QBOA or Keeper, right?
Yeah.
Old, right? That pretty much is in alignment with what you're paying today per client, because that's doubles business model, right? Just pay for each client that you have connected to
each client that you have connected.
their
Yeah,
book.
exactly, per month.
Right.
Yeah, so
I don't know if they have.
Sounds about right to me. I mean, again, my question would be like, can I do all the same things? And if I can, that's less than what double charges.
Exactly. So now let's go into and take a look at the books close function, right? So that is going to be under the service delivery section inside of Intuit Accountant Suite. You'll see the books close area and the overview. So looking at the overview, you open the upper books close settings. Creating a close is a button here, and then onboarding a close client. The fee is going to be based off of the number of onboarded closed clients that you want to have as part of this, right? So I may have 100 list. I'm only going to get a charge for the ones that I have put here, right? And for the R2 clients on my books close overview. So if I wait and do nothing, which I potentially could have, I could do, right? I may forget that I have these two for just display purposes. If I wait until May, I'm going to get charged $16 a month just because these two are sitting on the page. So I'm going to have to get them off, which is going to be under my action. Oh, wait, I don't have the option to get rid of them.
Oh my gosh, really?
My options are open, create the open, go to QuickBooks, or not, right? Like I'm going to have that's going to be another thing. How am I going to? Is this
maybe their policy is once you add them, that's it.
Right, because
you're stuck.
It's kind of like the tire tracks at the garage, right? You can go over them real easy, but coming back, your tire damage. Yeah. So let's first go into where'd you go? The books close settings, right? So you have some options here. First is there's tabs. There's the templates and preferences. First, the templates is your default book. Your options there are either to view it or to make it, right? So if I view it, here are the part of that books close, right? And we've got several sections here. Just to collapse them to show. There we go. So we've got pre-close is going to have, in this particular case is, closing of your client's books. You want to make sure transactions on the bank feed are coded, right? It makes sense. Gather all the relevant documents and statements, right? So you all the prep work that you would do before you activate. You can define the date of your close to be due, but then you've got other tasks that you can add as well. And then account reconciliation. There's not much that you can do in there because once you create a close, you can add or remove client accounts as far as what you're reconciling. This about books close because when you're reconciling your client's account, go into their QuickBooks in order to do that. This is one of those things that you're going to be able to do inside of Intuit Accountant Suite without going into your client, right? Being able to reconcile their accounts, and they continue to enhance this. You will continue to have more things that you can do without going the
wait a minute. You mean in this widget here, I can go in and reconcile them, or I can just mark them reconciled?
I can go in and do bank reconciliation right here without leaving and going into my client's books.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Right. So then
it brings the the subledger and the reconciliation thing?
It's basically just the screen that you see inside of the reconciliation screen inside of the client. But you'll see it into an accountant suite without going into the client.
Okay.
As if you're inside of your client, but you're inside of firm, account, into an accountant suite. Right.
Okay.
So then you've got transact, which these are general areas. You've got uncategorized transactions without payees, transactions coded, expenses and bills without attachments over a certain dollar amount, transactions greater than a certain dollar amount, transactions added by bank rule, huge one, right? Because if you've got transactions that were automatically added, those are set up right, and that they're coded properly. Transactions auto posted by AI coming soon, right? So that's another things that those two kinds of transactions are transactions that you don't have insight into because they automatically got added into the books, right? Funds, unapplied payments, big thing there. Under transactions over a certain amount of days, expense inconsistencies. That's a feature coming soon. So there's some things to keep in mind and doing. Consistency, that's a coming soon feature. But if you've got transactions to the same payee and same account that are different classes, you might want to review that. Customer or project transactions manually. So these are the 15 of transaction review that will be good, before closing the books.
Those are the key ones. I mean, that's very comprehensive.
Yeah. Payee entity review, right? So this is things, new vendors, right? So anything that's a new vendor, you might want to review. W-9, 1099 management. This is poor timing of this coming soon. On the 28th.
Yeah, that would have been nice to have that before.
Probably should. It would have been nice to have that January 1st, But I digress. New customers and then newly added accounts. So customers, the vendors, and accounts, because you might want to get notified when somebody does any of those three things, right? Like you're encroaching on my jam here, right? As your accountant, right? And then final review, your profit and loss statement, your balance sheet, your AP and AR reports, and then there are additional items of review and clean up the bank rules, because heck, you've bunch that were added by the bank rules from your transaction review, and then close the book. So changing your closing date on the company files, sending the financial statement, right? Sending that package. All of these this is right. If I want to make a copy, I can do that. It'll create the copy of that, and now I've got the ability to own custom tasks, right?
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
I can add something to the pre-close. I can. You can't do anything in the account reconciliation, what it is, but I've got add or remove for the transaction review, right? So if you're not needing to do certain tasks, not in your scope,
I like that.
You just remove some of those tasks. Yep.
Yeah.
Can't do anything here. The final review, but then you've got your additional items where you can do tasks in there, right?
Yeah, because certain clients have other things you need to review.
Exactly. And then you've got your templates, and then in your preferences, you have the close assignees, right? So this is 3 options with assignee, and that can be reviewer or approver. And so when you're creating or onboarding your books close clients, that's where you're going to assign who needs to do what, right? And so you've got a teammate who just do the transaction review piece of it, and then you have other people go in and actually do the financial reports before you sending them, right? So you're going to be able to at least up to 3 assignees for the books review. Then you have closed status, which right now you have 5 stati. Is it statuses? What is the plural of status? To do in progress, waiting on client, blocked, or completed, right? So, and you can go in and change the terms that are in here to do and completed, right? And you can resort and add your own. So those are
that's
just
pretty cool. Yeah.
the settings. Once you have on the client, then you have your client filter. So if you have a huge list of books closed clients, you can search for specific clients if you wanted to, the period, who it's assigned to, and then status might be. But you can see that are just listed here. That the is listed of when that book's closed was, when it's due, who is the preparer, who's the reviewer, and who's the approver, and that status, of where in the status and how many of the tasks are completed, right? So what we have found is that we can't remove from books reviews, so that we need to double check after the workshop here, because I'm aware on this screen to be able to do that.
Yeah, but let's go in. Maybe you're locked into it forever and ever. Yeah. You know what I was going to say is the one thing that I really like about this is sometimes I forget that I'm been doing this for a while now, and I have a team, and I get wrapped up in what the team is doing, and I don't want to change anything because of that, because that becomes a thing. It's really hard to change things once, people have things in motion. But when I first started, I mean, even though I had an accounting background, I didn't exactly know all the things that I needed to be doing as part of the monthly close as a bookkeeper, because when I worked as a staff accountant, I was only assigned to like part of the close, right? I wasn't doing everything on the financial statement. So in the beginning, sometimes I would think to myself, wait, am I doing everything? And I wish there was like a comprehensive list that I could find to make sure that, I was checking every little thing. So for folks that might be newer coming into bookkeeping, and maybe they've had some training, but they still, or even some formal accounting and bookkeeping education, but they still aren't entirely sure, kind of maybe as a solopreneur or maybe kind of getting started with a business, this is really actually a great resource for them to make sure they're doing it all right.
Yeah, and then keeping in mind that not you who have been doing this for a while, but in space, new to being a virtual accountant, coming in here and seeing this, like, oh, someone has created this. Because to your point,
it's really nice.
Books review is hidden, right? Like if you don't know where to find it, you're in your client as an accountant, right? There's a lot of things, discovery of that feature, and more importantly, knowing the option for review and setup to be a drop on the books review is a challenge, right? So I'm glad that they have this now, because sorry, go ahead. That's good. So now I've gone into a book's close, right? And some information in here based off of that particular template and that client, right? So my account reconciliation, 0 out of 22, right? So here's all of his the accounts, and it will have a column for how it's been reconciled through, right? So with all of your clearing accounts that you have to reconcile, and line of credits and those types of things, you can see all of them in place. And okay, let's just see here, right? So here's this. If I hit view reconcile, I have not left QuickBooks.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right,
I have not
Dan.
left Intuit.
Well, I didn't
right?
think that you were lying.
No, I didn't. I didn't think you thought I was lying. Here you are inside of Intuit Enterprise Suite. It's not on its other tab. It didn't take me into their books.
That's a really nice thing, because I mean, even if maybe somebody that's newer, maybe even if you have more than one client, and you've probably already learned that you can't tab back and forth between different clients. And so that can get very old very quickly. It's a lot of clicking around and it's aggravating. So this is very good. It's a good thing.
All right. So there's transactions without class or location. There's 266. Again, these. I can select multiple ones. I can them right from here. Whoops. Well, and this thing that journal entry, bill payment, check, and transactions aren't by bulk edit. So all of these being not gonna be helpful, right? One, I can edit it. I can add my request more information from my client right here. Go into the transaction to ask that question. I can attach a file and add more information in here. Put something in. Add to the list for more information. That's going to be up here at the top where you have requests. Right here at the top of the books close, and you're not needing to go anywhere to find the information, whatever it is that you have to find yourself navigating around outside of QuickBooks or inside of the client, right? So it's all in one place, or at least that is the intention, is that you don't have to go bouncing around, in different different windows. You're all in one place. And as we see, though, right, if we're going to run up against butting heads, right, we may have it's a place to put into these tools. You're getting the most out of it, because we're in the point where they have just kicked Bill.com out of QuickBooks Online. So to get to that ideal state of all of those things. So provide the feedback, let them know, hey, this didn't work as we had hoped. Or if you come across those things. But that is the intention and the goal of the books close, is to ultimately have a one place to be able to go in, and then you as a firm owner can go in and see how on track you are for those deliverables that you've established with your clients.
Yeah, it's great.
You'll be able to see who's working on what.
Yeah, I mean, it's really the most important part of what we do. I'm very curious to know how. I'm very curious to know if Right Tool is going to update some of the stuff to see and work in this view.
Yeah, I'm sure they are busily trying to figure out, how to because that's all the things, or that's their intention, is to be able to save precious seconds of
Yeah.
extra
Yeah.
extra clicking, and they may be augmenting, those shortfalls of what they see in the Intuit Accountant Suite until Intuit
Mhm.
adds them to
Yeah.
Intuit Accountants. So they're, in their regard, Keeper or Double or some other, books close tool that you're
Zenit is another one
using
that
to work
we'll
with
use.
your clients. Zenit, Right Tool isn't going to help with that,
Yeah.
because they're not going to create, extensions for all of those
Right.
utilities,
Right.
right? So so I'm sure they are enhancing their level version of Right Tool, with some of these features, them for the shallow end of the pool, these terminologies and features with that. So that is Books Close in a nutshell, right? Into Books Review. But if you go into Books Review, you can kind of compare, and I think that's a good blog article view
Yeah.
and Books Close that I might be working on between now and next week, when we talk about client feature, but that's on the Accelerate platform. So
Cool.
Initial thoughts, Rachel, because this is kind of a blind reaction to you.
Well, I think that as far as getting all the things needed for Books Closed, they definitely nailed it. They did a very good job. And if I wasn't using something else, I would instantly use that.
Yeah.
And I think for new people coming in to IAS, I think it's great. And I think the price is right too. So I think that I encourage people to use it.
Now, coming from who uses something else and stacking this up against that, and we just kind of glossed over some of these features, the details, but
yeah,
what do you see as like an advantage of using something like Double over something like this at this point in your firm?
Well, something like Double, you can, and then I have to go because we're right at the hour, but something like Double is great because you can batch change anything you want, large amounts. And change it right in the cell, like it looks like Excel, and you can just change it and updates QuickBooks immediately. So I don't know if you can update the transaction from that, or even maybe do that like in bulk, but that's where something like Double can really come in handy.
Yeah, I think that's what we'll do, is we'll Double versus Books Close and kind of see, see if it does well or doesn't stack up. So
we can have Jamie. Maybe,
appreciate you joining.
I was just gonna say, maybe we can have Jamie join in and put her 2 cents, because she's the expert user.
She's the Double user.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see you next time on the Workshop Wednesday, and the next time we're going to be talking about the clients in the Accelerate version of IA. Have a great week, everyone.